Have you ever got bored of building the same structures? Or you might be building a Minecraft village that requires the same amount of structures that look exactly the same. Today I'm going to show you how to copy and paste structures in Minecraft Bedrock. I'm on PS5 right now, so rest assured you can easily do this on console, and it's extremely easy to do. So first of all, you want to make sure you're in either a creative or a survival world, but you must make sure you have cheats enabled in that world in order for this to work. Then you want to go ahead onto the menu right here and type in give/give at s and then structure_block. Let me just go ahead and type that real quick. So once you've typed that out, you can then go ahead and press enter, and it will give you this cool looking block right here. I always think it reminds me of one of those pattern blocks. Where are they? I don't know what they're called. Okay, the terracotta blocks. I always think this block reminds me of one of the terracotta blocks, but you can see that when you place it down, you'll have some pretty interesting borders to go around it. All right, so now it's time to try and figure out what build I want to try and copy and paste. Now, there's so many builds in this world. Some of them are just entirely random and have no purpose whatsoever, but you can see I have some pixel art over here as well. I might go ahead and replicate that. In fact, I see this diamond sword down here. Let me try it on this diamond sword. So basically, whichever build you decide you want to copy and paste, simply place this structure block on the left side of it, and you can see it will place a border around it. If I place it right next to it, you can see actually, where do I want to place it? Probably about there. If I place it there, because you can see the border is obviously surrounding that build, and then to adjust the border and make it bigger, you just click onto the structure block and adjust it in these settings. Now, it might take a bit of a play around with, because obviously certain numbers make things obviously a lot bigger or wider like that. So you might just need to have a quick play around with it. And obviously, I probably need to set that to about 15, so let's say 18 or 19. So let me go into the menu and change this to, let's do 19 to be on the safe side. You can see that obviously that border now matches the entirety of this diamond sword. It's just now that I need to make it taller. So if you want to make it taller, simply go over to the Y coordinate, and let's just take a bold guess. Let's probably set this to 17 maybe. Is that tall enough for the build? You know what? That is bang on. That was genuinely a guess right there. And yeah, it turns out I've got it perfect. So basically, once you've got the border exactly how you want it, you then go back into the menu and then rename the structure. So for example, let's name this test. You want to make it basically something easy to remember. It will change to my structure test, because yeah, if it's easy to remember, you will need to reference this name as well in the future. And then you want to go ahead and click save. And now that's saved, you can see that, yeah, it's still looking the exact same, but you want to make sure you fly over to a different side of your world. Or if you're doing a village, in this case, you would do it right next to the building if you're trying to build a street, for example. But I'm going to fly over to the other side of my world. Right over here, I think, is probably a perfect, little area to do it in. I will basically go ahead, place down a fresh structure block, and then if you remember the name of the structure you just named, you want to go ahead and place that in there. So for example, I named it test, and then you want to change the mode from save to load, and then load the structure. Now, this just shows, obviously, the part of the world the structure is going to load on. You can ignore that bit, but once you've got the correct name and change the mode to load, you then go ahead and click on load, and if I come out of that, you can see that the same exact diamond sword that I've got over that side of the world has spawned right here. I have quite officially just pasted my own build rather than having to build it all again. Just to prove to you, that is the pasted version, and then if I go all the way over to this side of the world, you can see that that is the original version I actually copied. So it's quite a cool way of replicating builds without having to do them all again, and you can quite literally do this with any build regardless of how it is. For example, I just did that with pixel art, but if I want to replicate that build over there, it would take a lot more work, because obviously you're not sure on what size the border needs to be, so you will need to play around with it a bit more, but it is very possible for you to replicate that build in a different location around your world. Even if you wanted to, for example, do it right next door to the same build, you can do that. I just want to try it with one more build. I have a 3D dragon head over here, so if I go ahead and place the structure block right next to it, or probably better off placing it here actually, and then from there I can adjust the border. So if I go into it and then resize this border, I'm not entirely sure. Again, you will need just to play around with it. But I want to basically cover it. Oh, actually, I didn't account that raise out of there. So I'm probably better off placing it there so that I get the entire structure in. And then if I readjust this to let's say, we're probably better off putting it at 50 maybe. Does that still cover the whole build? It does that side, but because it's this side, it doesn't. So let me try and bring it out to about there. And then that will get the front of it in. Let me readjust that. I think 50 was a little bit too much. Let's probably try 42. Does that cover the entire structure? This side, yes, okay, that's cool. And now what I need to do is increase it this side. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm not great with coordinates, to be honest, but I'm just going to make a few bold guesses. So that's how tall it is. I'm probably need to going to make it a little bit taller just to be on the safe side. Okay, so it matches the build at the top as well. And then if I basically now just readjust this Z coordinate, to let's say, I don't know, 20 maybe. So there you go. You can clearly see how I've just adjusted the border in order for it to match the build I want to copy and paste, but you just have to be careful with where you place the block because it can be a little bit awkward at times just to get it perfectly right. But once you've played around with it for a bit and adjusted the correct coordinates, then it becomes a lot easier. So now that I've adjusted that and got where I want it to be, I am going to name this structure. Let's call it Dragon Head, for example, because it quite literally is a dragon head. So if I name it Dragon Head like that, and then there we go. All I want to do is click save. Now that I've saved the structure, I then want to come out of this and find out where in the world I'm going to paste it. But just to prove to you that this will be a pasted version, for this instance, I'm going to place it right next door to the original build. So I want to place down a fresh structure block, for example, change the mode from save to load, and then type in the exact name I typed in originally, which was Dragon Head. So if I just copy and paste that in there and then click load, as you can see, it is officially copy and pasted that original build. This is absolutely crazy to me that such a simple action in this game can just, I don't know, make it a lot more exciting. This to me just makes me want to duplicate hundreds and thousands of builds, all the exact same. I want to maybe do a world where I just place like 150 dragon heads inside, for example. No idea if that'll be a cool idea, but you can basically do so many cool things with this, especially if you're building a city or a village and you have a few buildings that need to look exactly the same, because let's be honest, villages nowadays do look exactly the same. This is a great way of doing so without having to build all of it again, but you do need to make sure, obviously, that you have cheats activated in that world in order to get hold of this structure block. Oh, and just in case you want to remove the borders once you've pasted all of your build, you can simply get rid of them and the build will still remain, even the pasted version of the build. And there you go, the borders have now disappeared, and now I have two different versions, or should I say two of the same versions of the 3D Dragon Head. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a like, click subscribe, and also share it with your friends. If you want to support the channel further, a great way of doing so is by joining my channel membership. I've made some exciting adjustments to it, and it's now $1.99 a month for the diamond tier. If you do want to support the channel, it's a very great way of doing it. You don't have to, but I know a lot of people want to support me a bit more, so that's a great way of doing so. If you do want to join, you can either click the link down below in the description or click the join button on my channel. And lastly, I've got some videos on screen right now that I really need you to watch. Make sure you go over there, leave a comment on them, and I'll be responding to every single one of you.